Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to wait for a few minutes just to give everybody time to log on, and then we look forward to starting our webinar on care home bathroom upgrades and shining a light on resident welfare. So hope you're comfortable, and just give us a minute or two and we'll get started. Okay, so I think that's most people joined now. There are a few, hopefully still to come on, but we'll get going because I'm sure everybody's taking valuable time out of their day to listen into our first webinar on care homes, where we're just going to look at the needs of the resident during bathroom upgrades. Yeah, delighted to welcome on with me today a guest speaker in Rod Davis, along with my colleague Harry Simmons. So we'll introduce ourselves shortly, and then I'll go on to talk about who we are as a business and why multi-panel's been increasingly popular in care home specification. We're then going to just understand from your perspective what the most important factors are from a resident perspective when refurbishing care home bathrooms. And then we're going to delve into a couple of case studies, one that we've done in the past and one from our guest speaker, Rod, who'll talk about their entire process and considerations around that. And then we're going to wrap with some summary questions and kind of what comes next. On the questions front, you will see on your screen down to the bottom right, there's a chat section. So please feel free just to ask any questions. There's chat and questions, so you can pop them into either. And we'll either pick them up as we go through the webinar or at the end, depending on the question. There is also, within those, there's a little button next to the question for upvote. So if you see somebody raise a particular point that you think, I'd like to know the answer to that, or I was planning to ask the same question, if you hit upvote, it'll just take it up the rankings a little bit. So if we're short of time, we ensure that we're answering the most relevant questions to the entire audience. So The speaking panel today is myself, Michael Dobson. I'm Sales Director at Grant Westfield, who manufacture Multipanel. I've been in the business 18 years in a variety of roles, and I've seen the continued growth of Multipanel to the point it's at today, which is delivering over 8,000 panels a week. A little bit more about Multipanel to come, but that's the introduction from me, and I'll pass over to Harry.
Thanks, Mike. So my name's Harry Simmons. I'm the specification manager covering London and the South East. Been with Multipanel about 6.5 years now. And the care market is a market of interest for myself. As we'll explain throughout how important the product is for that area.
Thanks, Harry, and delighted to welcome on a guest speaker from EA Mobility. Over to you, Rod.
Thanks, Michael. Harry, appreciate the opportunity to join you. So just a quick introduction for myself. I'm the National Healthcare Manager from EA Mobility, so I'm looking after care home projects up and down the country where we carry out bathroom adaptation, refurbishment projects according to their specification requirements, and looking forward to sharing some details of a recent project we completed with the Multipanel system.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Rod. Okay, so getting into a little bit of company information. So we manufacture the Multipanel product here at Grant Westfield. Multipanel is the leading bathroom wall panel in the UK. And bathroom wall panels as a whole are continuing to disrupt tiles as the traditional choice for bathroom wall coverings. I've mentioned Multipanel and Grant Westfield there. So Grant Westfield is the organisation. We've been around for over 140 years, privately owned for most of that up until last year when we were acquired by Norcross PLC. So we're now in really good company in terms of market leaders within the bathroom space. So sister companies in group are Triton, Croydix, Merlin, Vado, Abode, and Johnson Tiles. So absolutely in good company and helping one another to continue to grow and challenge ourselves on innovation. But back to who we are and what we do. We're based out of Edinburgh, where we manufacture those 8,000 boards a week and growing. We then service 10 regional distribution centres across the UK and hold north of 36,000 panels in stock to ensure that just-in-time delivery, whether it be for RMI or larger projects. Out with the UK, we're operational in Ireland, but also into mainland Europe, and have a sales and distribution operation on the German-Dutch border. Throughout the content that comes through today, you'll hear reference to some of our core values, not least sustainability, but also quality and design. And clearly, we've not been around for over 140 years without a real focus on quality. Just to give a bit of a history of what's happened in that time, we were originally a family-run shop fitting business who into the 1960s started to manufacture commercial washroom systems, followed by laboratory furniture. So there's a proud heritage in manufacturing within this organisation. It was around 2003 that we started to make our first laminate wall panel with engineered timber core, which was Multipanel. And that's transformed the business, but we've been able to apply all the knowledge from the previous 40 to 50 years of manufacturing to create the market-leading bathroom wall panel. So it's been quite a growth journey in those 20 years, and the outputs of which you'll see as we talk about range in terms of design development, so on and so forth. So talking of sustainability, we have full FSC chain of custody on the raw materials that make up Multipanel, which are the face laminate, the backing laminate, and the core material. Core material is an exterior grade MDF. And we're also an official member of Made in Britain. So that not only kind of covers the fact that we manufacture here, but it extends to our supply chain, and the vast majority of those raw materials that I've mentioned that make up multi-panel are sourced from within the UK and Ireland, meaning there really is no more environmentally friendly wall covering for bathroom walls in the UK. Moving on then, but closely linked from sustainability to warranty. Warranty is kind of traditionally seen as quality, and absolutely it stands for us standing behind the quality of the product, the fact that there's a 30-year warranty. But also, the more you delve into environmentally friendly products, life cycle is really key to it. In that you can have a product that's environmentally friendly manufactured, but then what happens at end of life? Is it recyclable? What is the life cycle? If it's 2-3 years and it's not recyclable at the end, how sustainable is it truly? And the fact that you've got a product that's close to carbon neutral in manufacture, with FSC chain of custody, with raw materials sourced locally, can be recycled at end of life, however, has a 30-year warranty, so has a very extensive life cycle anyway, are some of the factors that back up that statement about the most environmentally friendly wall covering. But it's not all about that. We're pretty proud of our designs as well. So we'll come on to the collections and the product in itself. So I've talked about the makeup in terms of the exterior grade MDF core and the high pressure laminate face. Laminates come on leaps and bounds in the last 10 to 15 years and has helped to elevate the aesthetic of wall panels, absolutely, as has the advanced engineering in our Hydrolock joint, which is how two panels are locked together to create a really seamless joint, but also a watertight one, which overcomes kind of some of the myths and perceptions around wall panels from 10, 15 years ago around them looking kind of cheap and plastic and having jointing strips between them. All that's disappeared with the investment right throughout the supply chain and industry. So looking within the last 5 years from a design perspective, we partnered with the celebrity interior designer Linda Barker. And that partnership's really helped to elevate the perception of wall panels and create that more premium end. And then beyond that, we then last year introduced a tile effect collection, which has the top layer of the laminate etched out to create a grout effect. And we see all of these collections from entry level through to the Linda Barker, through to the etched tile effect, all specified in care homes. The core specification is consistent throughout. So that means FSC chain of custody, 30-year warranty, the Hydrolock locking system, all of these factors. What differentiates them is the face decor. So in classic, you're talking sparkles and plain whites and these kind of things. Contemporary, you're moving up into textured stones. Linda Barker, you're getting into authentic replication of stone, marble and wood in true scale. And then you get into pure and tile. So pure and tile share the same palette of decors. Tile we launched with the etched grout line. Pure actually strips back from that, and you can have the same decors without the etched grout line. And all the pure decors actually are certified antibacterial as well. So that starts to shape the range, and all of which, as I say, is successfully specified within care homes. So that hopefully gives a bit of a flavour for who we are, where we've come from, and what's important to us and what sets our product apart as the market leader. So at this point, I just want to pause and gain a bit of input and insight from everybody that's kindly joined the webinar today, and just ask you to complete a poll. So down on the bottom right of your screen, you'll see there's a poll section, and we'd just like you to rank what you see for your residents, or what you perceive as the most important factor in specification of care home bathrooms, considering the needs of the resident. So if you jump into polls, you'll be able to select one of these answers: minimising resident disruption, hygiene, design, which could be design function or design aesthetics, and then thinking of ongoing maintenance. So which one of these would you say is the most applicable? Sorry, I was just looking for that. Harry or Rod, can you see, has that poll come up?
Yes, at the moment, minimising resident disruption is leading the way with 7 votes, then hygiene, then speed of ongoing cleaning.
Thanks, because it's not shown on mine. So excellent. So just picking up on the top answer there, which one did you say it was?
So it's minimising resident disruption.
Excellent. And from your perspective, Rod, in the projects that you've been involved in, would you agree with that? Or what did you choose?
Very, very interesting results come through from there. So minimising resident disruption, that's quite an important factor, obviously, in a care home where there's a lot of conditions to be mindful of and to take account of. It's quite important that these particular areas are free from disruption as much as possible, because it's not, when you're doing a refurbishment, it's not an empty building. You've got to work around a live situation and get that back to normality as quickly as possible, and obviously usability. So it's very important, very interesting that's come up as a top priority from those that are on the call today.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's quite a difficult question in that they're all relevant and important, but it is interesting, and I think speaks volumes that's come out the top, in that ongoing hygiene, design, and speed of cleaning are going to be important. And I suppose that's what you would expect from the specification, but actually ensuring the comfort of the resident is at the forefront of it. So thanks for everybody's votes on that. And I'm now going to pass over to Harry to talk through some of these factors through the lens of a case study that was done with Hallmark Care Homes.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, it leads on quite nicely. So we've taken on a case study with Hallmark Care Homes for a project where conversations started just before COVID. Things were put on hold for a while for obvious reasons. And then we kicked off about a year after COVID, when installers could get back into the care homes. So Steve Bryan, the estates manager at Hallmark, helped put this case study together. He's been a real driving force for getting panels into their properties. Hallmark Care Homes have over 15 care homes and also are building more. So minimising disruption was a very key factor for them, where all the care homes were open and working. So they were having to renovate rooms whilst residents were still moving around the building and care was taking place. Amongst the care homes, they also have dementia residents. So when they're moving these residents out of the rooms, they want to get them back in their familiar surroundings as quickly as possible. So that was a key factor. When they were taking on the renovation, they were quoted 7 days by a tiler. to complete the bathroom. When they took on the trial to use panels, they actually panelled the whole bathroom within 1 day. They then took 2 more days to complete the room and the bathroom, and the resident was back in the room in their comfort. So it just shows how you can really reduce the install time, and the residents back in the room living a comfortable life from there.
Absolutely, and I think given the fact that that came out top of the polls, just that significant reduction is absolutely key here. There's a couple of questions before we move on from minimising resident disruption that I'll throw your way, Harry, because I think they're quite relevant to how the disruption is minimised in terms of time. So throwing the first one up here, how quickly can panels be installed?
Yeah, so it's between 3 and 5 times quicker than tiling. So for instance, this room, it's not the room pictured, it's one on the next slide actually. There's about 7 to 8 panels for the bathroom, and that was installed in a day. So if you're just doing just the wet area, say 2-3 panels, you're looking at a couple of hours for installing. And then you've got to wait a few hours for the adhesive to go off, and you can start drilling into it and fitting all your other fixtures in the bathroom. So it's really that quick.
Absolutely, thanks for that. And for anyone on the call who hasn't had much to do with bathroom wall panelling, in follow-up we can provide a lot more information about just how it's cut, how it's bonded to the wall, tips, so on and so forth. But after the installation, Harry, here's another question for you, which is how soon the bathroom can be used after the panels are fitted, which also ties in with that minimising resident disruption.
Absolutely. So this page is actually a perfect example. So the panels are fitted in the day and they finish the bathroom after 2 days, and the resident could use the bathroom the next day. If they were just fitting the panels that 1 day, all they've got to do is wait for the silicone seal to go off, and they can use the bathroom the next day. So you haven't got to wait for grout and adhesive and these things that are involved in tiling to go off. So yeah, back in the next day.
Excellent. Well, thanks for those questions. Keep them coming. And over to you, Harry, to continue.
Yes. Yeah. So another key factor. So they wanted to save time and reduce disruption, but they had to ensure the product they put into place is hygienic. And they also wanted to save time on cleaning. So they wanted to put as much of their time into caring for their residents. So this is where panels fitted in perfectly for them as well. So with the panel, we've got a completely flat laminate surface, which you can just wipe down quite easily with soapy water and a squeegee. And then with it being a clear surface, there's nowhere for limescale, grime, mould, anything like that can cling onto. So it creates a really hygienic area without compromising on design, which we'll lead onto in a second. But by using the design style panels, you remove the clinical factor of which people can associate with cleanliness and hospital feel. By using these panels, you can keep that homely feel and keep all the hygiene and all the important factors in that area of the market. And I think I see a few more questions come through. So that's from that before. So that's a real keen aspect for them. And the other thing which Mike touched on slightly earlier is the longevity. With there being no grout or any other tiling products to go faulty, there's very few fail points on a panel. So once it's in place and you wipe it down, day 1 to 20 years time, once it's cleaned down, it'll look like the day it's fitted. So that was really keen for them. They want to create these hygienic bathrooms, but they also want it to last a long time, so they don't have to keep investing in renovating the rooms. They can put the money into the care side. So I've just seen a question come through about vinyl flooring. So yes, you can fit your wet room style vinyl flooring. We have a trim that clips onto the bottom of the panel and then caps around, so you can fit your flooring underneath the trim, which allows you then, because you have to replace the flooring a lot more often, you have to replace the panels. So it allows you to replace the flooring without having to touch the panel. You can slip it back under from the trim and then refit your new flooring. So it makes the whole process nice and easy. I've got another question here. So how robust are the panels? For example, if a resident has a wheelchair, so extremely robust. The best way I can sort of describe them is laminate. It's the laminate you have on kitchen worktops. You think how much use that can have over a 20-year life cycle, and how you just wipe them down and they're clean again. So extremely robust in that scenario. We've had care homes that have put half-white panels around the corridors and other areas of the care home for this reason. So it's not predominantly issues in the bathroom, but it has ventured out into bedrooms and hallways and more communal areas.
Thanks, Harry. And I would just add on to that in terms of the makeup of the high pressure laminate face. There is technical data available on impact resistance, and I think the headline is far more durable than tiling is. The less scientific answer is one of our own colleagues who, when asked this question in the social housing sector around how much abuse could it withstand, gets a hammer out and likes to whack the panels with a hammer, and it withstands that as well. So it's a great question. Thanks for that one. But the fact that it will it kind of meets all the EN standards for impact resistance and also passes our home hammer test, I think it stands up pretty well. Harry?
Yeah, brilliant. And then another question here. So how long do panels usually last? So it's a 30-year warranty, and it really does have the life cycle of that time, if not more. So you could have the panel in that setting for 30 years. Most care homes are looking about 15 to 20 year changeover in bathroom cycle. But this can help prolong that without having to diminish on what they're using, and they can use the panels for longer, still be hygienic, hard wearing. So yeah, it's a long-term solution. So I'll move on to the design, because it's as important as some other areas. So there's two sections to the design, which Hallmark we're looking into. So Hallmark have their own internal design team that design all aspects of the homes. So it's important that there's a design aspect to this. Hallmark try to create 5-star feel environments. They want the residents to feel like they're in their own home. They don't want it to look clinical. They want them to feel as comfortable in their surroundings as possible. So the image you can see here is using actually our premium finish from the Linda Barker range called Calicut Marble. So they're using a premium finish in this scenario. So this was from the trial we did in the Wimbledon care home. And Steve had to take senior management to the bathroom from the trial to get a feel of the panels, because they were looking to run this out across their whole estate. And the feedback we had from senior management that it wouldn't be out of place in the Mayfair apartment, which is exactly what we're trying to create with different levels of good, better, best type product. So with them being able to have the design they wanted install much quicker than it would have been using traditional tiling, and they didn't have to compromise on that 5-star feel, which is incredibly important to them. The quick turnaround is extremely important to them and not having to compromise on finish really helped them pull off a fantastic bathroom. I've just had a couple more questions coming here, which I'll answer as we're talking through this. So, who should be installing these panels? So it's quite a multi-skilled product. Plumbers who are fitting the bathroom or carpenters. It's an incredibly easy product to fit using a jigsaw, circular saw, table saw. So it's very easy in that respect. There's another question that's actually quite relevant to this bathroom. So, do we have different panel sizes for smaller areas? So, this bathroom here used our standard 1200 wide panels, but Hallmark have also been using some varied sizes. So, our standard width is 1200 wide. We also do 900 wide and then 598 wide. And Hallmark have used some of the smaller panels for smaller toilets and also areas of the building where it was difficult to carry up the 1200 wide size panels. So they went for the smaller options, so it's easy to handle. And there's one person lift with a 600 panel weighing 9 to 12 kilos.
Excellent. You got one more there, Harry?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I'll answer this before we move on. So the panels don't need to be matched like wallpaper. So depends on what panel you go for. So for the Calcutta marble panel, for instance, it's real image of marble printed onto laminate and then bonded onto the board. So when it joins, the pattern begins again as real marble would. But then we have some wooden finishes where the pattern then repeats and you completely lose any sign of joins. On our tile effect panels, the grout line is the vertical grout line is on the join, so you get a completely seamless finish the whole way around. So in some areas you'll have real examples of marble starting again, and then some other laminates with wood grains, and depending on the pattern, it'll be seamless. So the final part of designing the Hallmark case study. So they wanted the design to look aesthetically pleasing for the resident, but there was also some function and thought behind the process of what they were ordering. So with the panels and the Hydrolock system, doesn't matter what decor you use, you can interlock the panels for a seamless finish. So if you see the top right image where you have our cappuccino stone marble panel and then a plain cream panel connected, this helps them create zones for dementia residents, any residents with visual impairment. It creates, so you can create a dark zone, a light zone. So you can create a dark zone for the showering and wet areas and a light zone for away from the wet area. It really offers up opportunities for the care home to use it however they see fit. Across the laminate range, we also have different textures. So you could have a darker panel in the shower with a texture as well. So people can touch the walls to feel, right, that's the texture, I know I'm in the wet area now. Or touch it and know they're near the toilet or the basin. So you have the light and dark LRV ratings across this. The panels then are also easy to fix any grab rails, shower curtains, anything like that. So you can place these wherever you want in the bathroom. You're not having to use specialist diamond drill tip tools and so on. So these can be added at any point with no disruption to the resident. And then just from install side, it's very easy to create boxing for pipe work or concealed cisterns, concealed units, which the basin sits on top. So it's a very diverse product in that respect, where it solves a lot of issues in hiding horrible pipe work and so on. So that's the main reasons why Hallmark looked at the paneling solution. It ticked a lot of boxes which they were trying to solve and overcome. And that covers it from myself.
Excellent. Thanks, Harry, for that overview. there's another question here. I was just trying to drag on, but it doesn't seem to be coming. But I'll just pick it up as we transition. Oh, there it is. Thank you. If the panel's damaged, can it be easily replaced? So the sheer size of the panel, they're bonded to the wall, means it's quick to pull it off. It can there can be an element of make good to the wall behind before replacing, but is quick to take a panel off and put it back on. Absolutely. So some really excellent detail there that kind of covers over the 4 areas that we positioned within the poll, and just seeing through the lens of Hallmark and the trial that was undertaken that led to multiple sites on an ongoing basis. Kind of what was important to them and their residents for specification, and actually the solutions that were put in place. So now really pleased to hand over to Rod to provide a little bit more information about the overall service from EA Mobility and a detailed case study with before and after.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Harry. Brilliant overview of the product there. So just before we go into the case study, I'll just give you a quick overview as to EA Mobility and what our role is within the area of bathroom adaptation. So it's an area that we specialize in as a company nationwide, in the adaptation of bathrooms for any user with mobility needs. And we also have a unique proposition of the fact that we aren't reliant on subcontract installers. We have our own team of installation engineers around the country, followed around by regional project managers. So we contain the whole project in-house to give a seamless process all the way through from conception to completion. And it's a very successful business model that we're proud to be a part of. So what we've done here as a company, we were contacted by a care home group in Colchester in Essex, who had 2 separate care homes operated by 2 individual managers who had their own specification requirements that they were looking for their particular care homes. The one care home that we worked with wanted a specific wall finish system, which was helpful for infection prevention, and had already spotted something that they liked. In that we had 6 bathrooms to complete overall in the project, and as we said earlier, it was really important to them to make sure that there was only 1 bathroom in each care home out of action at a time, to ensure that they had continuity of usability and minimal disruption for the residents. So that was how the program was commenced and completed. And in the second care home, we were privileged to be able to offer the multi-panel product to them. So they wanted the design brief on that particular home was to have a home finish, to make it homely and comfortable for the residents, some of which were end-of-life residents. So it's important to make it comfortable for them and to upgrade it from where it was existing, and deliver a finished product to them, which was an enjoyable area for the residents to be bathed and cared for. As you can see in the before and after pictures there, quite a contrast between the 2. So when we entered the care home, there was the typical bumpy white tiles on the wall, and the grout lines were very, very discoloured. And as you can see, it looked very clinical in that room. So we took on the project there. We actually lowered the ceiling to match the height of the wall panel finish, which actually brought in more comfortability again, rather than a very high ceilinged room as it was previously. It was in an older property. We've managed to reduce the height of the ceiling to bring in some comfortability there. And you can see there that we've also contrasted in the shower area the difference between the grey finish on the wall panel there and also a white finish in the shower area to help with some contrasting requirements that they had. And the product we used here was the tile finish in that area. It was a very easy product to install. Our installer gave a bit of a testimonial himself on the use of the product and said he really enjoyed using it. It was a very easy system to install, and it was a rewarding job to complete, with the fact of having an imitation tile effect completed on there, but the speed of it was very notable. And again, just to emphasize the importance of it, that it was for this care home to get the room completed as quickly as possible. So we did a complete strip out and refit in that area. And as you can see, we actually even moved the bath location slightly. We also moved the toilet and basin and the shower area around to make it a bit more user-friendly when entering into the room, rather than having a wet area immediately right in front of you as you came in. That was then moved into a corner area. And then the room downstairs, you can see there, it's a slightly smaller room. That's on the bottom right picture there. Had a slightly different style bath in that. That was another room where we continued, and we just used the grey tile effect wall panel system there. So it's a great project to take control of and care of, and to be able to deliver something back that is, as you can see there, very homely and very friendly. Having come from the industry myself of the infection prevention area in healthcare, it's important to be able to provide something that is fit for purpose, easy to clean, and provides a good finish and a warm welcome for those residents. And that's been reflected by the comments from the care manager at those care homes, how friendly the room has become, and the enjoyment that the residents are having now in their bathing requirements in a surroundings that's very, very adaptable and very friendly for them. The whole process was very, very quick, and the delivery service from Multipanel was exceptional. So most of our projects are reliant on just-in-time deliveries, because you haven't got a big area of storage for these projects necessarily. So it was very important to work with a supplier who could support us in our delivery of the whole process, right from start to finish, providing a brilliant product and a brilliant delivery service as well.
Excellent, Rod. Thanks for the comprehensive overview, and it's really clear from that, the passion involved, and the importance of creating something that's not only practical for the resident, but creates just comfortable surroundings for them. And some of the feedback that you mentioned is just really pleasing to hear, and that Multipanel could play a part in that. So excellent overview, thank you. Questions come in, it's from me, so I'll just throw that one your way, which was really interested about the contrasting decor in the wet area. Harry touched on that in terms of Multipanel can be available with lighter or darker surfaces, obviously for creating different zones with that 30 LRV point differentiation, but can also create different zones through the texture, from smooth to textured panels. So my question was really around, in this example here, was that driven by visual impairment of the resident, or was it a design preference?
Yeah, it's a good question, Michael. It was actually a bit of both, to be honest. So they wanted to, like you would probably do in a if it was in a domestic setting, you might have a contrasting wall in your own ensuite or bathroom when you're using tiles, for example. It was that they wanted to create that side of things as well, but then also bearing in mind that it was important that some of the residents may have sight impairment of some description, to be able to, as well as a dementia level as well, to be able to create both those areas without having any negative influence or impact. The other nice thing to also mention was the way that the panels were able to seamlessly join from one color to the next using the Hydrolock system. So there was no trim detail involved. Just because you change the color of the panel, one married straight into the other, which is a brilliant, design system to be able to bring in that contrasting detail or effect, if you like, without having any negative design feature on it that would maybe bring in some disruption there that would maybe not be so pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, fantastic. Excellent answer there. Thanks, Rod. And just as linking back to the to the 4 points in the pole, and under design we had design from a function perspective and aesthetic. And I think what was encapsulated just in that response there with the hydrolock system, the light to dark, the texture option, covered both, whilst also creating the zones in the bathroom. So fantastic to see the demonstration of that through your project. So thanks very much for that. We did have a Q&A session to wrap up here, but we've had some fantastic questions coming in throughout. So thanks for everybody's participation there. By all means, please keep them coming as we start to draw the webinar to a close, and we'll continue to answer them as long as they come in. But just before we kind of wrap up with what happens next, I mentioned at the start that we as Grant Westfield are part of Norcross PLC and some of the partners within. And I just wanted to highlight some of the solutions available from two partners in particular, Triton and Croidex, and just underline that relationship that is there. So in follow-up to today, if you were looking to discuss further with ourselves and or Rod, just to kind of flag that we can also involve the likes of Triton and Croidex. So just to highlight some of the solutions commonly used within care home bathrooms from Triton. The traditional one's the Omnicare Ultra, the sort of traditional white box on the wall, has that thermostatic regulation to within 1 degree, and highly energy efficient. The move on in the middle to the Alina with the Type 3 TMV, and that has the grab rail mixer, which will support up to 150 kilograms and gives that slightly different aesthetic as well, and suitable for all pressure systems. And then moving on to a new innovation that was just launched a month or two ago, which is Envy, which really redefines thermostatic electric showers as the next generation, and replaces the traditional light box with an intuitive device on the wall that's kind of about the size of a smartphone. So that can have a fairly basic function up to quite advanced features, allowing you to set the controls of around the shower, and then have data around the showering experience. From a care home manager perspective, it allows controls to be set on, say, temperature or amount of time in the shower from a safety perspective. So some fantastic solutions within there. Then we move on to Croidex for bathroom accessories. So Croidex traditionally operate in the residential market and introduced the Metlex brand, specifically designed with the professional washroom or more of a commercial environment in place, so specifically within healthcare as well as higher end commercial washrooms. And as you see from some of the imagery, it's very sleek, minimalist and luxurious design. But also much like some of the questions that came out around multi-panel, it pairs that design aesthetic with durability and longevity. So it's stainless steel creation. When you get into some of the different elements, you've got grab rails, sensor taps, mirrors, all sorts of accessories like loo rolls, cabinets. There are different nuances and features for each. But to pull out a few, there's the hang and lock system for cabinets, allowing them to be easily adjusted post-installation. And all the wall hung accessories are designed for easy retrofit. So I think some of the synergies that come through from two of the companies within group are innovating, but innovating specific to needs of the sector, having design-led solutions. When you think of what we've talked through on Linda Barker tile, paired with the latest innovation from Triton on Envy, and this Metlex range, provides something that's suitable for environment, but gives that back to that kind of 5-star feel in terms of appearance. So anything else you wanted on to understand about those, please just get in touch with us and we can make the introductions. So in terms of what those next steps looks like and how to get in touch with us, as a follow-up, you'll receive a copy of the webinar with the slide information. So there's the opportunity to connect with all the speakers today. But there's also links within here to visit the website, find out your local contacts details, and reach out that way. And also, if you've anyone from an installation perspective that wants to learn more, there's a link to our Multi-Panel University e-learning platform there, which is a fantastic tool that covers everything from the basic elements to quite advanced techniques around how to fit multi-panel. It takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to complete online. So with that, I don't think there are any other questions that have come in, but I'd like to thank you for taking the time out on your Friday lunchtime. Hope it's been useful to you, and we look forward to following up with you after today. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Rod, for joining us. It's been great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, Rod.
Thanks very much. It's been a privilege and glad to have had a part in it. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Bye all.